Well, greetings. Welcome back to Story Mastery. Today, I'd like to kind of start at the beginning and talk about how do you find a great story? Or more to the point, how do you find a story that has the potential to become great? Now, you may already know that over a period of about 10 years, starting with the movie I Am Legend, I coached Will Smith on the scripts for movies that he was going to star in, or in one case with Karate Kid that he was going to produce. And during that time, he and I were invited to go online for an interview. And probably my favorite thing he said during that interview was when the moderator for the interview asked him, why did he think stories were important? And Will's answer was, because stories help us live better. What I realize now and recognize then is for the past 45 years, I've been coaching writers and filmmakers and eventually authors and business leaders on how to create stories that help us live better. And in the case of business stories, create stories where the storyteller, whether on the page or on the stage, is going to lead people toward taking action that will help them live better. So when approaching the idea of how do you find a story that has that possibility, that has the possibility of touching an audience or a reader deeply and emotionally to entertain them, but also inspire them, then what I think you have to do to begin with is start with what I consider to be the four pillars of storytelling, the four foundational elements of stories that storytelling or stories always possess. And those are very simply character, desire, conflict, and transformation. So to illustrate what I mean, let's take the movie Wicked. That's a movie that it's getting close to, I think, $700 million at the box office. It's the most successful box office musical that's ever been made. And it also is a multiple Oscar winner. So let's just take a look at the foundational elements of that. First of all, it must have a character. Well, it certainly has one main character, that's the character of Elphaba, but it has a number of other characters. You could almost say that Glinda is also an equal hero in that story. And then there are a supporting cast of characters and so on. But it certainly has character. It's not just about a situation. Next, does that character have a desire? Well, in the case of Elphaba, she has a number of desires. She wants to meet the wizard. She wants to be accepted more. And she also comes to want to help the situation that's going on with the animals. If you go to the character of Glinda, then she wants to be popular, certainly. She wants to be even more accepted, but they both seem to have interest, if not romantically, at least personal interest in the prince, and so on. So there are a number of desires, but in particular, for the hero of Elphaba, she wants to get to the wizard who can help her in her situation. So we've got character and desire. Then is there conflict? Are there obstacles standing in the way of the character or characters to achieving what they want? Elphaba certainly has a lot of obstacles. She's not being accepted. She doesn't really belong at the school. She's more there to help her sister, another desire she has. And she's rejected because of her color and because she's an outsider and so on. So we've got character, desire, and conflict. And then the last thing is there transformation? Now, by transformation, there first of all has to be a transformation in the hero's circumstances. So somehow the hero, the main character, the protagonist of the story has to be in a different place. Her circumstances have to have changed by the end of the story. Now, even though Wicked is only really the first half of an overall story, we can certainly see the different ways in which things have changed. For instance, she starts out friendless, and now that's changed. She wants to see the wizard, and now that situation has worked itself out. Just in the case you're among the few people who haven't seen it, I don't want to talk in too much detail about the end point of the transformation, but trust me, it's there. But not only are her circumstances different because she is pursuing this desire that she has, or these desires that she has, then also the people around the hero, their circumstances must have changed as well. The hero's actions, the hero's courage, the outcome of this hero's journey needs to affect those surrounding that character. Well, certainly it affects Galinda greatly because now she's in this tug of war and now she's questioning what she's been going after, and the relationship between the two women is quite different. And it affects Elphaba's sister, and the prince seems to be being shifted. It even will have an effect on the other main characters, including the wizard. There's that sort of ripple effect, that effect that what the hero accomplishes or fails to accomplish is not going to just affect that character, but the others as well. But also, there's another transformation that may take place. And if you want to go deep enough in the story, which is what I strongly recommend, and that is the character is changed inwardly. Somehow they have transformed, or there's been a transformation from the stuck place they were at the beginning of the story to where they are at the end of the story. How have they overcome or confronted some inner conflict they had that they had to overcome in order to find the courage to go forward? So all of those four elements are present, and you could actually fairly easily find those four elements in pretty much any movie that's been made in Hollywood, certainly any successful one. But the same would apply if you're in business. Let's say you're telling a story about how you once went after a desire and faced obstacles you had to overcome, and how that transformed your life and the lives of those around you. Or you're telling a story about someone you helped or worked with, or was changed or affected, or their life was made better because of your message or your product or whatever that might be. So in whatever arena you're telling your story, the foundational element first must be that the story has those four foundational components. Whatever the arena of the story, as you come up with ideas, and you'll come up with numerous ideas, first thing you want to do is look at the idea and say, does it have these four elements? If the answer is yes, then you're ready to move forward. If the answer is no, you've either got to toss the idea and say, that's not going to work because that won't have the emotional impact, that won't fit those criteria to make it worth pursuing, or you've got to figure out, well, which are the missing elements from your idea and add those to it so it will have those four components. Now, in the next video, what I want to do is I want to go deeper into those four elements of character, desire, conflict, and transformation. And with each one, I want to show what are the qualities of that particular component that let you filter it in or out of what you're pursuing. In other words, what are the qualities of those components that give it greater potential to touch people deeply, to make it an emotional experience, to entertain people, and to inspire them to action. And we're going to start with one of those, the one I sort of consider the first one of those four you should probably focus on, and that is desire. So until then, I'll look forward to seeing you. And by the way, if you're interested in seeing the entire interview I did with Will Smith, just click on the link below and it'll take you to see the whole interview. So enjoy that, and I'll see you next time.